Hey everyone, Teo here. This is my artist review of the Apple Pencil with USB-C port. And in this video, I will also be comparing this with third-party Apple Pencil alternatives that are less than half the price, such as this one that I have here, which is from Kuxiu, and this is US $32. This is US $79. Shown on the screen right now are the retail prices for Apple Pencil 1, Apple Pencil 2, and Apple Pencil USB-C, and the various iPad models that are supported by these three pens. Alright, let's see what's included with the purchase. This is the quick start guide, and that's the Apple Pencil USB-C. Let me give you the bottom line up front. Is this worth the money? For me, it's a definite no, because you can find third-party Apple Pencil alternatives with similar performance for less than half the price. Let me give you some context as to how expensive the Apple Pencil USB-C is. This is US $79. This iPad Pro magnetic stand is US $69, also from the same company Kuxiu. And at the time of making this video, the company is including this pen with the purchase of the stand. So, which is the better deal here? Apple Pencil USB-C supports tilt sensitivity and palm rejection, but there is no pressure sensitivity. And there is this flat side here that lets you attach to iPads with the flat side using magnets. And the magnets are strong, but not as strong compared to the original Apple Pencil 2, which is noticeably stronger. And even this Kuxiu pen has stronger magnets. The design looks almost identical to the Apple Pencil 2, except it's shorter. If you pull out this cap, you can see the USB-C port, and now both pens are the same length. This cap is not removable, so there is no way you will lose this cap. By the way, the capping sounds really nice. They have the same matte textured surface, almost the same color. Mine is a bit yellowish due to usage over the years. The pen tips have the same design, so you can use third-party pen tips as well. I actually have a silicone pen tip here, and this is the original plastic Apple Pencil tip. For drawing, I prefer to use the silicone pen tip because this has more resistance on glass and hence will give you more control while drawing. And the tapping sound is dampened. The original Apple Pencil tip is made with plastic, so the tapping sound is louder, and this will glide more easily on glass. There is still slight resistance, however this is smoother compared to the silicone pen tip. And when you're writing, you want to write fast, so having it glide smoother on glass is better compared to the silicone pen tip for writing. Anyway, Apple Pencil tip replacements and alternatives are very easy to find online, and I have recently reviewed several, and I will link to that review in the video description below. Before you can use the pen with the iPad, you have to charge it and pair it because it uses Bluetooth for connection. So to charge it, you can connect this to USB power, or you can connect this to your iPad. And if you connect this to your iPad, it will also pair the pen with the iPad. Once connected, there will be a pop-up that appears, which will tell you how much battery life is in the pen. A full charge will take around 15 to 30 minutes, and you can charge this pen for 15 seconds to get 30 minutes of use. This charging setup is not ideal because if you are outdoors and you need to charge the pen, you need this cable, and you need to bring along the cable. If you compare this with Apple Pencil 2 or third-party Apple Pencils that support wireless charging, nowadays there are many third-party pens that also support wireless charging. With wireless charging, when you have the pen attached to the tablet most of the time, there is no way you will have a pen with low battery because this is always charging. So with Apple Pencil USB-C, you have to make a conscious effort to charge this occasionally so that when you're using this outdoors, you don't run into a situation where it runs out of battery and then you realize you don't have a USB-C cable with you to charge it. The battery life for this pen is around 10 to 12 hours. And one thing you have to know about digital stylus in general is the battery capacity in such pens is low. So if you leave the battery discharged for long periods of time, it may actually damage the battery. So again, you really have to make a conscious effort to charge your pen regularly. If you use the Apple Pencil often for writing and for drawing, you don't have to worry too much about the battery deteriorating, because when you use the pen, you have to charge the pen, and when the battery is used, you get a healthy battery. The handwriting and note-taking performance of Apple Pencil USB-C is excellent. This is able to capture my handwriting style very accurately. Latency performance is quite good. However, latency will depend very much on the app you use. So with this app concepts, as I'm drawing the lines, I can see the line trying to catch up with the pen tip. That's just a small amount of latency and it doesn't really affect my writing. With Apple Notes, there is almost no latency at all, so latency performance for this app is excellent. By the way, the thin and thick lines that you see here are actually applied by software. This pen does not support pressure sensitivity. So for this app, when I'm writing slowly like this, the line will be thin. But when I'm writing fast, the lines will be thicker. Palm rejection works great. So when writing, you will not get any stray strokes and the tablet will not register any unintentional finger gestures. If you have a magnetic iPad stand, I'm happy to tell you that the magnets behind will not affect the pen performance. So what are other features missing from Apple Pencil USB-C? You cannot tap on the iPad to open Apple Notes instantly. With Apple Pencil 2, you can tap on the iPad to open up the Apple Notes app instantly to take notes. With Apple Pencil 2, you can double tap on the side to switch between the pen and eraser tool. Apple Pencil USB-C does not have the double tap shortcut feature. Apple Pencil USB-C supports the hover feature or cursor preview on tablets that support that feature, such as the M2 iPad Pros. As to how well the hover feature is implemented really depends on the apps you use. For example, with Clip Studio Paint, when the pen tip is close to the drawing surface, I can see the cursor. However, if I change the direction of the pen, I don't see the shape of the cursor following the direction of the pen. So if I want to draw a broad stroke, I can draw like this. If I want to draw a thin stroke, I can draw like this. I can have a broad vertical stroke or a thin vertical stroke. So tilt actually works. It's just that the cursor preview is not accurate. And this is Adobe Photoshop on the iPad, and it does not support the hover feature or cursor preview. And as I'm drawing, I cannot see the cursor, so I don't know how thick this line will be. And I'm drawing this way. So if I draw this way, the lines are equally thick, so this app doesn't support tilt. This is Paint Storm Pro, and as I change the direction of the pen, the cursor does not follow the direction. Now let's draw a thin line. Okay, that's great. Let's draw a broad line. It works. Thin, broad. So tilt works. It's just the cursor, it doesn't follow the direction of the pen. This app is Procreate. So the cursor does not follow the direction of the pen. So let me try and draw a thin line. Nope, it's broad. Yep, so if I draw like this and like this, I get the same line. So tilt doesn't quite work because the cursor doesn't follow the direction of the pen. Let me show you how tilt actually works here. So I'm choosing, I have this brush called Tinderbox. Let me increase the size here. Okay, so I can draw thin lines like this, and if I tilt the brush, I can draw the broad strokes. So even though this pen does not support pressure sensitivity, you can actually still draw thin and thick lines with the help of tilt. To get thin lines, you just hold the pen more vertically. To get the broader strokes, just tilt down to get those thicker lines. So it's actually possible to draw thin and thick lines even without pressure. You just have to adjust how you hold the pen. See? So let's have thin, let's have thick, thin, thick, thick, thin. And if I want to shade this, I can tilt it to the side to shade this. So you have to look for brushes that support tilt. Let me show you what Apple Pencil 2 can do that Apple Pencil USB-C cannot when it comes to drawing. So this supports tilt and pressure, and you can use tilt and pressure at the same time. So I'm using the same brush here. I can draw thin lines, I can draw thick lines by pressing down harder. I can shade with minimal pressure. And if I shade with tilt and press down with pressure, I can get the darker shade. With Apple Pencil USB-C, if I'm using the same brush with the same thickness, the line will be thick. So if I want to draw thinner lines, I will have to reduce the brush size. So there you can see it may interrupt your workflow when you have to change the brush size from thin to thick. So it's not as convenient compared to using Apple Pencil 2, where you can choose a thick brush and just adjust the brush size using pressure. But with this, that does not support pressure, you have to adjust the brush size manually. And if I reduce the brush size to make it thin, and I want to get the broad strokes, I will have to tilt the pen. And notice as I tilt the pen, the shading is very dark because there is no pressure. So it's applying maximum pressure. So it's not possible for me to shade lightly or apply layers to the shading. If you want to draw with Apple Pencil USB-C, you have to know the limitations. So this app that I'm using is Concepts that supports tilt. And I like to use this pencil brush, which supports pressure and tilt. But this pencil brush can work very well even without pressure. So if I tilt the Apple Pencil, I can actually get the broad strokes. When I'm coloring with this app, I can hold the pen vertically for those thinner strokes, and if I need to cover larger areas or color very quickly, I can tilt the pen down to get the broader strokes. So this is how I usually color with this app. I can get the thin lines, the details, or I can tilt it to get the broader strokes. Alright, to conclude, for drawing purposes, I would recommend you go with Apple Pencil 1 or Apple Pencil 2 depending on which iPad you are using, because you will get tilt and pressure sensitivity. If you are not drawing, I recommend you go with third-party Apple Pencil alternatives because you get the same performance. This can write. This also supports tilt, and this supports wireless charging as well. So I just want to put this information out. You guys can decide how you want to spend your money. US $79 versus US $32 for the same performance. Oh, by the way, there are many Apple Pencil alternatives that support tilt, but none will support pressure sensitivity. So the only pen that supports pressure sensitivity on the iPad is Apple Pencil 1 and Apple Pencil 2.